Hi, and welcome to Matt Holman Talks Mental Health, the podcast where I have the opportunity to catch up and chat with amazing humans about their journey with mental health. For this episode, I'm so happy to invite Lorna to the conversation. Welcome, Lorna.
Hi, Matt. How you doing?
I'm very well. I'm so happy you're upbeat and ready for this. You keep me awake. So this is part of the podathon, and it's brilliant that you're part of this process as well, of recording all these episodes. So you're going to be episode 20 of this event, which is just incredible. We're on the last leg. We're into the 20s now, which is just, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. But I'm so happy to have you here as well, because I'll do a brief introduction. I'll let you do your proper introduction. So Lorna is a family friend who we've known for many years, and she's just a brilliant individual, wonderful person. You're going to hear that as she talks as well. Just had such fun times over the years together, and just sort of partied hard, and and spent a lot of time sort of chatting about all the wonderful things that are going on in the world, and we're going to hear a lot about that. So I'm not going to steal too much more of your thunder there, Lorna. I'll let you go. You give your introduction. Welcome.
Do you know what I want to say as well, Matthew? It's so true. Like, we are family friends, and all my family, my family take your dog for like babysitting and dog sitting and stuff. So we really are sort of connected, and it's been lots of years. And over those years, I've just watched you do all these amazing things. So you're telling everybody else that they're amazing humans, but what you're doing is amazing. So I hope you've been told that like 20 times in the 20 podcasts that you've done so far. You are an amazing human, not just for what you're doing today, but the stuff you do with the Samaritans and your businesses. It's very inspirational. And I think it's part of what's inspired me on my journey.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you. And do your introduction then, Lorna. Tell people what you do and what you're up to, what you're all about.
And actually, one more thing. I just want to check in with how you're doing. Because this is how many hours?
This is the 20th hour now, so I'm doing well. I am. I'm taking care of myself. I'm having breaks and that I need. Just short breaks, nothing too long. I can't have a sleep. Showered, changed, and I'm ready for the next bit. So thank you.
You look fresh as a daisy. Considering I was sort of dragging myself out of bed, 6 in the morning, going, oh my god, this is so early for me, and then thought, okay, this guy's been up for a whole day. Yeah, probably 20 hours plus.
I popped on some fake eyeballs, but the other ones are red. You can't see them. Brilliant.
You're looking good.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So your introduction, go on. Tell us.
Yes. Well, as a therapist, I'm used to sort of listening, but talking about myself doesn't come quite as naturally. But I guess I'm a therapist, I'm a counsellor, a wellbeing practitioner. And you can find out more at goodsoultherapy.co.uk. Just get the plug in there.
Brilliant.
And I'm all about just sort of cultivating a sense of self-compassion and self-care and self-acceptance, and getting people to know that that's okay to do that. And it's very necessary for us to do that. It's very necessary for us to take time out and to look after ourselves individually, because that benefits everybody around us, doesn't it? And I think we're quite conditioned to think that when we do that, it's selfish. But I think it's a practice and a skill that we need to learn so that we can just affect the world around us positively. I guess I blend lots of different types of theories and approaches, and I'm an integrative therapist. That means I bring together sort of an emotional approach, being able to support people, and the sort of practical end of psychology and therapy in ways to really action the changes that you want in your life. In terms of my experience, I have worked with the NHS through Mind, charity that you are connected to, and also with the survivors and bereaved from the Grenfell fire. Also with the Addicted Prisoners Trust. Sorry, it's very early. Just getting my morning voice on.
That's all right.
And it's very rewarding. Now I work in private practice. I use that experience, and I work in private practice, working with people up and down the country, supporting them and giving them a space to feel heard and seen, and just supporting people. It's very rewarding. I just feel like I'm at home in this work, and now it's been a good 10 years, and I work with lots of different people from different backgrounds, and people come with different things. Some people are feeling anxious or stressed, feeling low. They want to sort of process things that have happened in the past or deal with stress that they have going on at the moment. So it's a real mixture.
Right. There you go. So lots of things that you're involved with, and it's great to hear some of those organizations you're working with today. And I know the Grenfell thing that you've been working with as well for a very long time, not the thing, but, you know, the Grenfell, sort of the aftermath and supporting families and the communities within there as well. Just incredible work that you're doing. So you went on a little journey to get there, though. So I want you to talk a little bit about that, please. So, you know, how did you become this person who, you know, is helping others, supporting others? Because I'm always fascinated by the why, the how, and the what. So, how did you get there? I guess it comes under the guise of your journey with mental health in many ways, because that's what you're doing now, right?
Yeah, it's all quite connected, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess for a bit of background, as you know, I've traveled a bit, lived in different countries, had various sort of interesting jobs in media and creative industries, and loved it. But that lifestyle, very fast paced, very stressful, living out of a bag, you know, you're always on the go, always working, not feeling very settled, not feeling anchored. And that takes its toll. And that can look like burnout, that's stress. So dealing with that kind of lifestyle, and then getting to a certain point where I thought, okay, no, I want to come back to London. I want to root myself and just do something that connects me more with people and with my community. And so, yeah, I came back and started to have a think about that. And I was volunteering at different places. And that felt good, you know, being able to be there and support people. And it was an ex-colleague, actually, that was training, doing some part-time training to become a therapist, and just used to talk to him. I just thought it was fascinating. And I just thought, yeah, that sounds like me. Let me give that a little try, and dipped my toe in.
Yep.
And then thought, yeah, all right, this is me. So it wasn't until I started my training about 10 years ago that I had therapy for the first time,
Right.
which I'm a bit embarrassed to say. Like I hadn't been, just thought I was kind of chill, you know, kind of chill kind of girl, like roll with the punches, you know, nothing phases me, that kind of thing. And then I went into therapy and I was surprised. I was surprised by how it impacted me.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of turned my life upside down, really, that experience. And it gave me the space to be aware that the things that I had going on in my life were not healthy. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think we're just conditioned to just go, well, this is how it is. This is how it is. Yeah. And you just carry on. And so, you know, that time I left a very unhealthy job and an unhealthy relationship and just flipped everything upside down for the better. And yeah, it gave me a chance to see how you can adjust your mindset so you can have a healthier and happier life. So I really got into it. And then also a part of that was, you know, just giving myself permission to stop still. I've been so used to running and working, just working, doing the next thing in my career. And this just gave me the permission to stop still and assess what was good for me and just get out of that unhealthy groove. And we can get there, can't we? I mean, you know, you've worked in fast-paced industries with a lot of travel and the impact that can have on your mental health and your physical health as well.
Yep.
So yeah, sort of going through that journey. And also I learned that, like, in therapy, it can give you a new lens to look at the things that's going on in your life. And as part of that, I saw that generational trauma is a thing. So previous generations in my family and their trauma, it sort of permeated down through the family, through the generations, and how that can just continue as a cycle and how difficult that can be until somebody stops that cycle, breaks that cycle. And I started to see that in my work as well. So I started working as a therapist, and especially now in private practice, I'm seeing this all the time, that I'm working with clients that come in and time again, I'm hearing them say that they want to break the cycle, that they realize that their parents had their own difficulties and they felt the brunt of that. And then actually, you know, you might get some clients that come in and go, I've got all this stuff going on, I'm feeling tense, I'm feeling stressed, I don't know where it's come from, because we repress and suppress all of those difficulties. And then very soon after you start talking to a lot of them, you realize that their parents had trauma and their parents' parents had trauma. And if they know more, maybe their parents' parents had trauma.
Yeah.
And so this has become quite an important thing for me, and especially working with Black clients in London and all over the country and in different countries. Just seeing like how important that is, and thinking about that additional layer, because everybody's got their personal traumas and their family traumas.
Yeah.
But if you imagine being Black in the UK and your parents might have migrated, or your grandparents might have migrated to this country, to a country where they weren't welcome, but it's very difficult to get work. So all of their bandwidth was spent on putting food on the table, staying safe, trying to be okay. But then all of the trauma, the external trauma that they faced outside, would implode within the family. So all of that stress is internalized into the family. And then that becomes a kind of relationship template and a communication template. And so families are just living through trauma and perpetuating that trauma. And so it's great now that we have this awareness, especially with millennials. I work with a lot of millennials, and they're able to talk about it. We have this kind of luxury of time to be able to stop and look at our emotions, of not having to be in survival mode and just keeping things going. So they're able to stop and be able to afford therapy, or even just being able to be on social media and connect to people that are doing the same thing, going through the same journey and the same process. And so we're seeing a lot of people addressing this issue of family trauma and generational trauma. Yeah. And there's so much I could talk about with that, Matt, but I'm doing a piece of academic research on it. I've just started, because it's so important to me and there's so much to it. And I think the more we talk about it, the more that we can break that cycle, you know, with my clients, but just in general, families all over the UK. And I think it's important to get the conversation going, as you do.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what, it's not something I'd ever really thought about, you know, until somebody brings that conversation forward and front and center, that we can think about, yes, there has been trauma that's been created within, you know, the family unit, or the, you know, the descendant of families, and generational issues. And it just shows, doesn't it? Mental health is impacted all over, everywhere, at all levels, and it can be connected in many different ways, and the challenges that come with mental health. And you know, I don't always just want to say mental health is a negative, because it isn't, and there is a very positive element to mental health. It's the mental challenges that people experience because of stigma, discrimination, racism, and all those things that go around it. And it's just, it's hard, isn't it? And you know, you're doing such a great job with where you're at. What I found fascinating in what you said was the piece around, you know, you went into that therapy as well, and it's part of becoming a counsellor anyway, right? You have to have therapy to make sure that you've cleared, and you're clear in terms of where you are in your life and everything else. And I don't know if everybody realizes that you know, as therapists, you have therapy as well, and you have supervision, and you have to, you know, follow a certain set of principles and rules. And do you think, now here's a question, what do you think about this? Is there a stigma of going to a therapist still?
Oh my God, you know, this is one of the things that I really wanted to talk. I put a note to myself about talking about stigma. And it's only recently, again, you know, sort of talking about millennials coming to therapy, is because we're talking about it, because that stigma is lifting. But up until very recently, you know, in the UK, very much a keep calm and carry on kind of attitude. Always talk about that stiff upper lip.
Cup of tea, yeah, that'll sort it.
Yeah, cup of tea will sort it out.
Yeah.
And in the Black community, very stigmatized, or you know, you would go to church and go to your pastor to talk about your problems, or the culture of you don't air your dirty laundry in public. So very stigmatized, and also a certain sort of in the Black community, a mistrust of health services. And the statistics prove that there is different treatment for Black people when it comes to mental health in institutions like the NHS. So it's understandable that there's a mistrust. So lots of barriers. to people wanting to access therapy. But I think that is changing. And yeah, that culture of just holding on to your problems and sweeping things under the carpet, you know, that's been the way that people said that works, but it doesn't, because people then externalize their trauma in different ways, and the body will give you the signals. I think I heard one of your earlier podcasters, Chloe, she was talking about how she was storing her stress in the body, and that resonated with me. I was like, yes, embodiment, it's a real thing. You know, the science is there and it shows it. We store stress in our bodies, and it comes up as stress and aches and pains and illnesses, and we just kind of brush it off. We just kind of say, oh, well, you know, that's how it is, just a few aches and pains. We don't connect that with the stress that's going on in our lives, and quite often there is a connection.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, and once you know it, this is the reality. It's about awareness. I think first and foremost, it's about awareness, isn't it? It's about saying, you know, when you've got that pain across your shoulders, well, that's stress related pain. That's not something, you haven't hurt yourself lifting. Unlikely you've hurt yourself lifting something, but and people don't always connect that piece and don't recognize that necessarily. And I get that, and I genuinely, when I feel stressed, I tend to get quite tight shoulders and sore shoulders, and then I know I need to do something to stop it or to change it. I can't necessarily stop it, but I need to address it. Think about, okay, what's the stress that I'm dealing with? What can I do to look at that, and can I change it? And challenging some of those thoughts with it as well, which I know are sort of therapy models, and you know, we're sort of challenging through things like CBT and sort of reframing and so on. But it's interesting. How do you feel the awareness is going, you know, from your perspective? And I really genuinely appreciate everybody's perspective on this sort of question. Is how do you feel the awareness of mental health and what we're doing is going?
Well, I mean, it's growing. It's massive, almost to the point where when I talk about self-care, it feels like a bit of a cliche. You know, people roll their eyes and they're like, oh, self-care, self-care, self-care. But it's so important. And, you know, that phrase is thrown about a lot, but we physically store this stress. You know, we're running on stress. When we're stressed, we're running on that stress adrenaline, and that's really bad for the body, because it's the equivalent of having your foot down on the accelerator all the time. And, you know, if you do that nonstop, the engine's going to blow, and that's what happens. You know, things are going to start flying off everywhere, and eventually the engine's going to blow. And we're operating in that mode a lot of the time. And the answer to that is quite simple, and I don't want to like do myself a disservice, but me just getting people to stop and take care of themselves is about 90% of what I do, because it's just about putting the brake on, having a pit stop, you know, refueling, just like if I keep the metaphor going, squirting oil in the joints and that kind of thing. And it can be as simple as that, but that's the difficult part. So people are becoming more aware. And people are talking about self-care, and you know, you're on social media. A lot of this stuff comes up on social media. But what's important to me is making it very specific to each person. So making sure that it's not just a generic, okay, I'm going to do a face pack and everything's going to be okay. But really getting into the root of where their stress is coming from. Is that their day-to-day stress? Is there stuff at work going on? Is that things that happened in the past? You know, quite often, very soon into the therapy process, we'll talk about childhood and what happened in childhood and how that might be impacting their thoughts and their feelings and their behaviours. And just stopping and pausing and reassessing and refueling and thinking about self-care can help to say, okay, like gives you a moment to say, all right, how can I start responding to things differently? And you can start to reprogram yourself. But yeah, people are getting on it so much that it's just in the sort of public discourse. It's on social media all the time. And, you know, it's just in our vernacular, it's in our jargon that we talk about self-care and affirmations and gratitude, and everybody's doing journals and meditation. And it can sound a bit woo-woo, but actually science backs it up. You know, this stuff is ancient. It's from ancient times. And it works. It works. I get the most skeptical people who wouldn't have thought about it or roll their eyes, you know, to just do a couple of breathing exercises, and they're converted, they're sold.
There you go. There you go. You've sold it. You've sold
I
me.
mean, yeah, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about it.
I'll buy two. Yeah, no, absolutely. But you know what, that's important because, you know, and you know, this is an opportunity for you to talk about you as well in, you know, in this way of saying your services are like this and this is what you do and this, you know, and you are genuinely passionate about this subject. And I'm intrigued. So there's an intrigue in my head here that says, so you talked about your life before you went into this role, and you said, you know, you were running around, you were living in different places, and you know, and you were enjoying life, right? You were doing well. I assume you were enjoying life. I should never assume anyway. But what would you say to yourself there from your perspective now as a counsellor? What would you be saying? Anything?
Slow down, girl. I'd say
Okay.
slow down.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Yeah, just slow down. Just take it easy. Just like stop and smell the roses a little bit. You know, it's all like go, go, go. And it was great fun. It was. But, you know, sometimes you can miss things by speeding along.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. And just also some reassuring words. You know, sometimes we need to look back and tell our younger selves something reassuring. Yeah, I guess, you know, part of my journey was I have my own anxieties. Even coming to do this podcast today, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to be so nervous because this kind of thing makes me nervous.
Yeah.
And I was doing a bit of yoga and doing some breathing exercises and then having a nice chat with you before and just telling myself to it's all right, just slow down, just chill, it's all good.
Yep.
And it works.
And it does. And the glasses with probably the anxiety with the glare of the screen on your lenses. It was
all I can see is a fuzzy screen right now, but you look great anyway.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, but you know, that's how we work though, isn't it? We do build up this anxiety around it. And I've had a lot of people who have felt quite anxious about doing these, especially on this sort of format with, you know, pushing them out very quickly, getting them out there and giving people the time to sort of process, okay, I said this, oh my God, it's live, you know, and it's not live in this world. We're not out recording it. We're not showing it live now, but it's going out in like 10 minutes after this is recorded. And I can get it. You know, and I think that's where we want people to recognize that as a mental health impact, you know, to our way of the feeling elements that we've got within us, isn't it? So hopefully you feel all right about it going out 10 minutes after this.
I have every confidence in both of us.
I
really do.
Absolutely. So we got a few more minutes, and I want you to sort of fill the air with your wonderful positivity and anything you want to share with people as well about the things that you're doing or the plans that you've got for the future. Share away, and then I'll do a little wrap up at the end, and then we'll be done. But what do you want to say? Anything else?
I mean, I'm gonna use the opportunity to get a shameless plug-in for the website, goodsoultherapy.co.uk. And yeah, I'm going to continue doing the therapy work because I love it and I see the direct impact on individuals and families and communities, you know, when we're looking after ourselves. And I think that's my message. I talk to people about being self-full, and because people say, oh, when I'm doing my self-care, you know, like people around me think I'm being selfish. And I'm like, no, you know, like I said at the top of our chat, it's if we're good, then those around us will be good. It benefits everyone around us. It benefits our families, our loved ones, our colleagues, our community, the world. You know, it's like I'm trying to just bring these positive vibes into the world. So it's imperative. It's very necessary that we focus on that and give ourselves permission to do that. And you know, doing that, cultivating self-compassion, that helps you have compassion for other people, and you can manage stressful and difficult situations. So we can't stop life coming at us with all its different challenges, but it helps us to be okay in those challenges. So I would just encourage people to find a moment for themselves, you know, like even if it's just 30 seconds, a minute in your day, or just a deep breath before you send an email, or just having a mindful cup of tea, you know, just not sending 100 emails at the same time, but just taking 5 minutes out of your day for yourself. blocking out that time for you. And that will just, you know, start this process in which you feel more comfortable to communicate and to look after others and be good to yourself. And, you know, that just spreads, it spreads, Matt. That's a good virus.
Oh, absolutely. Let's get that out there. Let's get that out. goodsoultherapy.co.uk. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right. That's
Is
right.
the website. So, you know, and you know, check out Lorna's work, because Lorna is an amazing human, as everybody that's been on these podcasts is an amazing human, but she's a super amazing human because she's a very good friend of us, a family friend, and everything else that goes with it. And we're on commission. So no, we're not. I'm joking. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? No, we're not. Yeah. No, that doesn't happen, honestly. It's just been a pleasure. I knew it would be, because why wouldn't it be? It was just a pleasure to have you come on this session with me at this time. Well, I don't even know what time it is now. What time is it?
No, it doesn't matter.
It's still
Don't worry about time. You've
yes.
only got a few more to do. You're doing amazing, Matt. You're doing amazing.
Thank you.
I would only do this for you, though. I'd only get up and like be in front of a camera at this time for you.
For 7 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Have you been up since like 4, 3, 5? You know, I don't know. So I don't know. Listen, a huge thank you. Like I say, wishing you all the very best as well with everything that you're doing and all the wonderful work and experiences that you're involved with as well. And keep going as well. Let's all
Matt,
keep working hard.
Keep being amazing. Good luck with the rest of it, and hope you raise lots of money. Get on there and, you know, like
hit the phones or whatever.
Yeah, hit the phones or donate
online.
Hit the link below, all that stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, you can be my PR anytime. It's great. And as I always say at the end of these, if you are struggling, if you do need extra support, if there is anything that is worrying you, concerning you, or you just don't know who to turn to or what to say, know that there are organizations out there like Samaritans. You know, you can call for free 116 123. You know, somebody's always at the end of that phone just to listen to whatever you have to say. If you need to take counselling, therapy or services.
And I was just going to say one more thing as well, especially for people from Black, African, Caribbean and Asian backgrounds. You can go on the Barton website, that's BAATN.org.uk, and they list lots of therapists from Black, African, Asian backgrounds, so you can have somebody who looks like you and can maybe relate to some of your issues.
Fabulous. Thank you for sharing that. I'll put that in the link as well for people, so if anybody does want to check that out, please do go and use those resources. But there are many resources out there, and that's the key to this, is you are not alone. There is somebody who cares, and they can just be a phone call away. And if you know somebody that's struggling, why not reach out to them today? Just drop them a text, say hello, see how they're doing, because today is Time to Talk Day, and we should be recognizing that. I know should be every day Time to Talk, but today is Time to Talk Day. It's the 4th of February, and it's a good opportunity. So please do take a moment to reach out, chat to somebody, maybe just drop a text and say hello. It can change somebody's day for the best, or for the better. So thank you, Lorna. We're done. Exciting times. Look after yourself, stay safe, and we'll
good luck.
See you soon. Thank you.